Dior Cruise 2027 took over LACMA, and Jonathan Anderson made the house's Hollywood history feel completely new. Wilshire Boulevard brought Ed Ruscha shirts, Philip Treacy feather typography, car paint saddle bags, and a film noir wool coat. Jonathan Anderson presented Dior Cruise 2027 at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, staging a collection titled Wilshire Boulevard that drew on Christian Dior's deep Hollywood history and the visual language of mid-century Los Angeles. Key design moments included shirts made in collaboration with artist Ed Ruscha, bespoke feather typography headpieces by Philip Treacy reworking a technique originally created for Isabella Blow, denim jeans embroidered with fine silver chains, and a new saddle bag variation with car paint surfaces and motor key charms. The collection marks Anderson's first cruise show for Dior, arriving less than a year into his tenure as creative director of women's collections. Jonathan Anderson's first cruise show for Dior landed at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, and the collection he brought with him, titled Wilshire Boulevard, was built on a provocation worth taking seriously. Christian Dior, Anderson argued, did not simply dress Hollywood. He understood Hollywood as a philosophical project. A place where the post-war dream of escapism and the surrealist obsession with fantasy converged into something that shaped fashion as much as fashion shaped it. Returning to Los Angeles with that argument in hand, Anderson proceeded to make it visible. The historical grounding runs deeper than most fashion shows attempt. Christian Dior designed costumes before founding his house, contributed to 2 films released in 1950, Jean-Pierre Melville's Les Enfants Terribles and Alfred Hitchcock's Stage Fright, the latter at Marlene Dietrich's insistence, and received an Oscar nomination in 1955 for his designs for Terminal Station. The Golden Age of Hollywood and the Golden Age of Dior were not parallel phenomena. They were in active conversation, mediated by women like Lauren Bacall, Ingrid Bergman, Ava Gardner, Audrey Hepburn, Grace Kelly, Sophia Loren, Marilyn Monroe, and Elizabeth Taylor, each of whom wore the house at moments that defined both their public images and Dior's cultural reach. Anderson's Cruise 2027 began from that history and asked what it looks like in 2026, in a city that has changed considerably since Dietrich told Hitchcock "No Dior, no Dietrich." The show opened with a buttercup yellow dress decorated with rosettes, flowers established immediately as a recurring element, before moving through a luminous orange poppy field dress and eventually reaching the collection's more architecturally complex pieces. A Dior gray wool flannel coat striped with the geometric shadows of Venetian blinds arrived as one of the show's most quietly forceful moments. A direct citation of film noir's visual grammar rendered in-house fabric. The everyday became couture midway through the runway in the form of ripped denim jeans embroidered with very fine silver chains imitating strands of cotton, a piece that summarizes Anderson's broader instinct for finding luxury in unexpected places without aestheticizing poverty. The Ed Ruscha shirts are the collaboration that will generate the most lasting discussion. Ruscha, whose 5-decade practice of placing words and phrases against atmospheric Californian backgrounds amounts to one of the most coherent meditations on Los Angeles ever produced, brought a sensibility to the shirts that Anderson described precisely. The sense of the mundane in relation to the city's grandeur. Ruscha's work has always understood Los Angeles as a place where the banal and the mythic coexist at street level, which is exactly what Anderson was building toward in the collection's broader argument. The shirts are not simply garments with an artist's name attached. They are the collection's clearest statement about what it means to make clothes in and for this specific city. Philip Treacy's headpieces for the men's opening looks deserve their own paragraph. Treacy reworked a technique originally developed for Isabella Blow's iconic Blow hat, using feathers to form lettering and typography with what he described as exacting precision while keeping the pieces weightless and alive. Blow, who wore Treacy's hats as a form of radical self-presentation throughout the 1990s and 2000s, is never far from the conversation when Treacy works in this territory, and the Dior context gave the technique a new institutional frame without erasing that history. The men's looks that followed, carrying the collection from women's wear into a shared wardrobe, reinforced Anderson's interest in fluidity as a design principle rather than a gesture. The accessories told a parallel story. A Nautilus-inspired minadier and a new crescent-based shoe silhouette animated by flowers and sequins extended the collection's botanical thread into footwear and evening bags. The updated saddle bag, now offered with car paint surfaces and motor key charms, drew directly from another Los Angeles reference point, the vintage American cars that define the city's visual mythology as surely as its palm trees and canyon roads. The motor key charm is a small detail, but it is the kind of detail that rewards the close attention Anderson consistently invites.
searching for a woman believed to be in her mid to late 20s, last seen near the Pacific Coast Highway. Witnesses report the woman was driving a cream convertible and wearing a white polka dot scarf tied around her head. The woman is described as having brown hair. Police have advised members of the public to approach the woman with caution, describing her as potentially dangerous. Anyone with information is urged to contact local law enforcement immediately.